Colourful animations and text depict the voiceover.
There's a lot of change happening right now. Change that affects all of us in the New South Wales disability sector. And you'll have important questions about what this change really means for you. While there are some things we don't know yet, there's a lot we do know, and now we can tell you about some of the changes that will affect you. Back in September 2015, an agreement was reached about how people with disability in New South Wales will transition to the NDIS. Between now and July 2018, to support the rollout of the NDIS, disability services currently provided by the state government will transfer to the non-government sector. As you can imagine, the transfer process is complex, but we're determined to make sure it's done in the right way. The process includes rigorous assessment of participating NGOs so that the government is confident they meet all the requirements for providing services to people with disability now and into the future. And a more targeted process to select NGOs able to support services for people with more complex needs. The views of people with disability, families and carers about what makes a good service provider will also be given careful consideration. Services and staff will not necessarily transfer to the NGO sector at the same time that people with disability will transition to the NDIS. There are two key timelines. One for transferring services to NGOs and one for transitioning clients to the NDIS.
Animated timelines depict the process. Before 2016, a marker on the client's timeline reads Hunter Trial Site, Nepean Blue Mountains Early Rollout.
The process of transferring services has already begun. Home care moved to Australian Unity in February 2016. Then, in March 2016, we will begin the process to select NGOs to take on our disability services.
A marker on the client's timeline reads Year 1 New South Wales Locations.
In the second half of 2016, we expect to make decisions about the desired providers for most services and to start to work with them on the process and timeline for transfer. But for services for people with disability with more complex needs, we will need a bit more time.
A marker on the client's timeline reads Year 2 New South Wales Locations.
And so, in 2017, we will finalise our process to select providers to deliver these more complex services and start working with them on the implementation path. In 2018, the transfer of all services will be finalised.
Arrows extending from a circle labelled U depict employment pathways.
The employment pathways available to disability staff have taken shape and include transferring to an NGO when services transfer, taking up a first offer role with the NDIA, or securing a role in another New South Wales Public Service Department. Your employment pathway will be determined by the process agreed on by the New South Wales Government. Let's take transferring to an NGO. Continuity of support for our clients is critical, and many more people will be needed in NGOs to make this process a success. Many disability staff will be part of the transfer process. To continue to support our clients, ensuring we build on the strong relationships you've built over time while retaining your expertise. We're aiming for all frontline staff and staff who support frontline services to take this path. But you won't be able to choose which NGO you transfer to or which roles will transfer. The process will determine this. Staff who transfer will receive a transfer package. This is only for staff transferring, not for those who resign to work in an NGO.
Text, Transfer Package. Transfer payments of up to 8 weeks, a guaranteed role for a period of 2 years for ongoing employees. Leave entitlements will be transferred and prior service will still be recognised. All existing superannuation arrangements will be maintained.
Now, let's look at first offer roles in the NDIA. Initially, ongoing vacancies in New South Wales were offered to ongoing FACS disability staff. Any eligible ongoing disability staff member could apply, with selection strictly based on merit. If you get a first offer role, the following conditions apply. Your service with New South Wales is recognised for annual, long service and extended leave. Your accrued annual leave, long service and extended leave is either transferred to the NDIA or paid out by FACS, and your superannuation arrangements are maintained. These conditions are only for first offer roles. not for NDIA roles advertised publicly. NDIA roles not filled through the first offer process are being advertised publicly. Now, let's look at securing another placement in the New South Wales Public Service. This pathway is for staff who are not moving to the NDIA and are in roles that won't transfer to the NGO sector. Employees will be considered for suitable vacancies in FACS and other agencies across the New South Wales Public Service. Hiring managers in those agencies will prioritise FACS disability staff for roles that have been identified as suitable. But individual circumstances may be taken into consideration. Where a suitable vacancy has not been identified by the time an employee is no longer required in a FACS disability role, the employee will be supported through the New South Wales Managing Excess Employees policy. We're working hard to make the transition to the NDIS the best it can be for you, for people with disability, for their families and carers, and the rest of the New South Wales community. There's still a lot to be done, and we'll continue to keep you informed throughout the process. Change is happening, but together we'll make sure it's a successful change. For more information, visit workingtogether.facs.nsw.gov.au.
The logos for the New South Wales Government Department of Family and Community Services and Working Together appear.